Is that a challenge?
Oh, that's a challenge. Oh, that went the couch.
Did you make the couch slide?
No, you did.
I did not.
I did not leave.
I've been sitting here the whole time.
That was you.
I've been sitting here the whole time and it didn't move.
So what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say your big butt made it move.
Move it back.
Oh, I felt it again.
What?
I felt it.
Well, it's
I
just
felt
this-
the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, tumbling down. Okay. Oh, hi, welcome to.
Hi, guys.
Do you know I'm probably the only vlogger that doesn't say welcome back to my channel?
Oh, really? Is
Everybody
that
says that. I don't say
welcome
that.
back.
Yeah.
I remember Welcome Back Carter.
I wanted to.
Back in
Carter.
his- Welcome back. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Your dreams were your ticket out
Welcome back.
to that same old place. Go ahead.
You know what he said a while ago? He said, we're not going to do this live, are we? Because I could either make your subscriber count go up or go way down. It's true. What would you do to make it go up?
Just be me.
That's true. That's true. Ah, it's question and answer time. It is indeed.
Q&A.
Q&A. I can't do other accents. It's just not in me. Southern is all I know. Well, we just got in from church, and before we put on lounging clothes, we said we were going to go ahead and do the Q&A. And you fixing yourself over there?
Yeah, my shirt's all
Oh, I
over.
got your arm around me. Y'all, we so don't sit like other couples in church. We sit about this far apart, and we're so into the word
Well,
and
she
everything.
throws her arms up in the air, and she'll frail me if I'm not careful.
I'm worshiping.
You have to have distance when you're
Everybody
in a
else
praising church.
sits with their husbands with their arms all around them. Me and John
They
sitting
just
there.
ain't praising the Lord right.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Okay, we got some questions, and it's really a good number of questions. And so we're going to start. Kathy Cox wrote and said, where did you meet John? Even though John and I were raised, well, and I'll just say lived probably less than 10 miles apart.
From the way the crow flies.
From the way the crow flies, we never had met. I never
Nope.
knew him, didn't know anything about him. Later on, I did discover that his niece went to the high school where I worked, and I can remember your mother coming in and checking her out from school. But as far as knowing John, I never knew him till I started working at the college where he already was working, and you really had not been there that much longer than me, had you?
What year did you start?
I started in 93.
I started in 91.
Okay. So, and of course you understand that when I went to work at the college, I was married and then went through a divorce after that. So, John is younger than me, and so never really...
Cougar.
I'm a cougar. Never dreamed I would go through a divorce. Never dreamed any of that would happen. And so, but I can remember seeing you out in the hallways he dated students at that time. And I can remember you out in
Well, I was young.
This was a long time
This
ago.
was in 91, okay?
How old were you then?
This would
You
have
were
been...
like 30 or something like that, wasn't
Well, yeah, I would have been 30 years old.
you? You would have had to quit dating those students eventually, though. Because you were getting too old.
Well, they graduate and move on.
That's true. A whole new light comes in every fall. But that's where I met him, Kathy. Kathy Cox asked that. So, we kind of had a two-part question. Lynette Easter said, how long did you and John date before you get married? And then underneath that, Candy L came and said, I think Suzanne needs to make a video on how they met and all that romantic stuff. So, from the time that John and I went on our first date until the time we got married, it was 13 months.
Yes, that's a good question for Suzanne because I would not know that.
He don't have a clue. Like I said, I thought the world of John. I even tried to fix him up with a young lady from my church because he was in between dates, and he came in and actually asked my boss at that time, did she know any good Christian girls? And she said, you need to talk to her because she goes to church with all, and I did. And he don't remember the detail as much as I do, but you know women remember stuff. And I remember that y'all exchanged phone numbers, and I was going to cook spaghetti for y'all.
I did not exchange phone numbers.
Well, I was just going to cook spaghetti for y'all.
Yes.
So I was going to cook spaghetti because, you know, I was married, and I knew her real well, and I knew him from work.
She was at church today, by the way.
Yes, she was.
You hugged her.
I did. I'm like, I'm so glad I got him and you didn't. But anyway, something happened that y'all couldn't meet, that coming up on like a Friday night or something. One of the two of y'all couldn't meet or something, and I think I just said y'all were kind of on your own, and it never did become anything, did it? Because you never did really meet her. So, but I thought the world of him then, and then when I went through my divorce, we started talking, and he was dating somebody. And one of the things that kind of triggered, and I don't think you remember this as well as I do, is that he started to take a New Testament class that I had already taken. Anyway, I had already taken the New Testament class, and I told him, I said, we were just talking, I said, it's pretty hard. And you asked me, did I have a Bible that you could borrow, because you had only been saved a short time. And I said, I've got tons of Bibles. And so I let him borrow a Bible. And then we started talking about the New Testament class. You either had a question, you called me or something, or I called him, and we talked for hours. And then we talked and talked, and I begged him to come over at Christmas and just come and hang out and watch a movie. He wouldn't do it because I was freshly divorced. He said I wasn't ready, and you were dating somebody too, huh? You had a date. He did. I would call him after he would come in at night, after coming in from a date, or he would call me, and we would talk for hours. But then we talked about dating, and he said, no, we were from two diverse backgrounds, and that it would ruin a friendship.
As you can see, she was persistent.
I was. I knew what God had in store. And so I really fell in love with John over the telephone. I really did. We would talk for hours. No radios. That's an inside joke. He went to a rodeo with a girl, and me and my girlfriend, Jamie Sanford, watches this channel.
Uh-oh.
And she was in cahoots with me all the way. And she directed our wedding, too. So hats off to Jamie. But Jamie and I spent the afternoon one evening at work printing out all kind of rodeo pictures. And while John was going to the rodeo with this girl, we went and taped them all over the wall of his apartment. We were quite mischievous.
Yeah.
And then we sit and watch till you got home?
Yeah, I think y'all stalked me.
We stalked him. So, but let me just go all the way to the spring. And I asked John to come see me sing in our Easter production called His Glory. And I was already in love with him then. And I think he loved me. He just didn't know it. But so we did huge Easter productions. And I sang In the Presence of Jehovah. And so I look out during the production and I see Jamie and Joe sitting there. And then I see John. And he was supposed to have a date. And then I saw this really old woman sitting next to you.
Really?
Yes, really old. I mean, it was a clear indicator she was not your date.
Okay.
And so that night, it's the only time it's ever happened. At the end, when Christ comes out of the graves, we would have what they call these pot shots go off, and it started a little fire. It's
pyrotechnics.
It started a little fire. Well, the little fire would have been okay, but then one of the disciples decided he'd fan it with his costume, and it became a fairly big fire. I felt the heat on my face.
Well, didn't it hit the curtains? Didn't it? I was thinking there was...
It was a flag or something.
Yeah,
it hit something and flamed up pretty bad. So next thing I know, our choir director is saying, go, get out of the choir.
The church.
And so I told John I ran over 10 older women getting down to him. But anyway, we stood around and talked because it was a fire. And of course, we got it put out very quickly. And then they carried the continuing of the service out into the parking lot. And there were some people that got saved out there.
I really think, and I know this sounds like a lot, but I really want to say they said there was like 50.
Yeah, there was a lot.
50 people got saved.
Yeah, because they felt the fire of hell. Might need to do that more often. So anyway, long story short, we got to talking. His friend had gone on a business trip, was getting into the airport late, and didn't get to come with him. And so we stood there and talking. So Jamie knew that I liked John. She knew we'd talked about dating. And she said, well, why don't we just go get something to eat? And I thought, he's never going to do that. And he said, yeah, let's do that. And so I rode with him in his truck, and they went, and we went to this little town nearby and ate at Shoney's. Shoney's was the place we ate. And we just sat and had a good time. Well, he lived in that town, and so after it was over with, he just went home, and I rode back home with them. And so the next week, we had a blast. really wasn't, I guess it was kind of a date, but not really. But the next week I said something, because we talked all the time. And I said something about wanting a steak. And you said, well, let me cook you a good steak. And I was like, cook me a good steak? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, at your apartment? And he was like, yeah. And he said, or we could just go get a steak. And I was like, can I ask you something? Is this a date? And he said, yes. And tell him later what happened. You got to tell him what happened when I sang in the presence of Jehovah, that you knew God. It was a sign from God.
Say that again.
Tell them what happened when I sang in the presence of Jehovah, that you knew it was a sign from God.
She sang like an angel. I can't remember.
John, you don't remember?
What?
You told me that a light shined over my head.
I did.
John! John, either you lied and you don't remember it, or you're trying to get our ratings up. John,
embellished the whole story.
What?
You've embellished this whole story.
I have not embellished it. John, you told me a few months after we started dating that there was a light to shine over my head when I walked out to sing, and you knew that God was telling you that I was the person to date. A woman does not forget that kind of stuff. Obviously, men do.
Oh, I apologize for that.
Oh my God. Talk about anticlimactic.
You sure it wasn't that far?
I'm going to kill him. After this is over, he will not appear in any more videos because he's going to be dead.
Oh, my
John,
Jesus.
do you not remember that?
I'm really trying to make myself remember it now. Oh, yeah, that was a lot of her head.
You have just crushed my heart. I thought I was so special.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
glad you can remember.
He did tell me that. And anyway, from that night forward, we were never apart.
And she don't lie, so that happened.
And that was in April. And then we got engaged in December, but we waited till May to get married because Ashley was 16. And we really wanted her to have time to acclimate to us being together because I had been married a long time. And there was like a 2-year time frame in between me being divorced and getting remarried. And so we really wanted to make sure that she had time to acclimate to John and I being together. And of course, now he's the most wonderful stepfather in the world. She does not hesitate calling on him. She is his baby, his big baby girl, and I couldn't have asked. Well, God just put us together, truthfully. I tell him all the time that God saved him for me because you were 34 when we got married, right?
Really? Was I that young? God.
But he was a bachelor, and I snagged me a bachelor. Yeah, you were 34.
Oh, my heavens.
I know. I mess with my hair way too much on my videos. I got to stop it. Okay, now that romantic story is all over, you better remember that from this day forward.
Oh, yeah, I'll try to.
But he made a good point. He said, I don't remember it, but she don't lie. And I don't lie. I never lie. I can't stand liars. And so that's what happened 20 years ago. Shirley thought you had a Damascus Road experience and you don't even remember it.
I did feel a little pain in my knee.
Well, Candy, there's all that romantic stuff. But we had a beautiful wedding, and Ashley sang in our wedding for us. So it was quite special. So, okay, couponing girl. You seen her new haircut?
I've seen her haircut.
Too cute.
It's as cute as her dimples.
Oh, John was watching her yesterday, and I was showing John her new haircut, and he said, that girl has got some dimples. She got some. They're beautiful.
We met her, by the way, up in Knoxville.
We did.
So,
but this is an appropriate question from Couponing Girl because I've never seen anybody eat as much as this girl does and be as skinny as she is. What is your favorite restaurant to eat at?
Well, I probably have several.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mexican is my favorite by far. And you love Mexican, but you also love a really good steak.
I do. I do.
Mexican's my favorite. And we have a little place we go to on Friday evenings for Mexican.
Right.
But John does love a steak.
Yep. If, I guess, with the Mexican fix aside, we do that every Friday. We like going to top of the river. That's it's pretty good.
Well, you can tell by looking at us that we like restaurants.
We got our 21-day Daniel fast coming up.
We do. Okay, we're trying to watch time on this. I'm going to let you answer this one first. This is from Happy Homemaker, my friend Irene from Louisiana. What is the one big thing that you love most about each other? Go.
There's so many things. It's hard to...
It's trying to make up for the light story.
Down to one. Well, if I didn't say this, I would probably get in trouble. I mean, there's a lot of things I love about her. But when she was talking about Easter Glory a while ago in that light, it is her singing.
And he never gets to hear it now.
No, not like I used to. Mm-hmm. But her voice, she has a really good voice. And so that's what really brought us together initially. Mm-hmm. So that would be it for me.
And that's sad, because you don't get to hear that.
Well, let's don't think about sad things. Let's move on to the question. Back to the question.
The one thing that I love the most about John is I don't have any trouble coming up with this answer, and it's his honesty. I was in a relationship for a long time where I was lied to for many, many years, and lies just hurt. And I never worry about John lying to me. It's like I tell my Bible study girls, I don't check his phone. He doesn't check mine. I don't check his wallet. I don't go behind him and check anything, because I know that he's honest. And that is the one thing that I prayed for when I prayed for someone in my life, is that when I look in his eyes, I know he's telling me the truth. And God answered that. Hands down, perfect, beautiful. So Kathy C. said, if there was one piece of wisdom that you could share with a young married couple, or even someone married for 18 years like me, what would it be? One piece of wisdom that you could share. Respect. You have to respect each other. And there's just certain things that we've set standards that we will and will not do in our marriage. And a very simple one is we don't tell each other to shut up. It's just very harsh, and we just don't do it. We may walk away, but I think respect is, because there's times that I may not be into doing something or going somewhere, but I know he wants to, and I have to respect and honor his feelings. So that would be my advice. What about you? Anything else?
Just spend a lot of time together, like we do when we're out riding around. Just creates good camaraderie and fellowship and communication and everything. So we get out.
Yeah, we don't really think about going anywhere without each other. We want to be with each other all the time.
Yeah,
I go off with my girlfriend. He goes off with his brothers.
That's what I was fixing to say.
Fishing.
We do our own individual trips, but
on a day-to-day basis.
But yeah, day to day,
we're together.
We still spend a lot of time together.
All right, Kathy C. I'm so sorry that I crucified your last name. Jay Stevens says, what is your favorite TV show or movie? Now, these will be totally different, because John watches TV in the living room and I watch TV in my little den, and we holler back and forth at each other. We don't like. So favorite shows, we got to hurry. We got a few.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and just sum mine up really quick with, make sure I get the street address straight. Miracle on 31st, 34th.
It doesn't say Christmas. It says
but it's Christmas time.
Okay. So that's your favorite movie?
Well, yeah. Now, I did like Sergeant York.
Who?
Sergeant York.
Is that a movie?
Yes. It's a Jimmy Stewart movie.
Oh, okay.
Or is it James Stewart?
What about your favorite TV show? Because you have some that you watch at night.
Oh, yeah. I watch a lot of History Channel TV.
Yeah.
American Pickers.
Pawn
Stars. Alaskan Bush People.
Naked and Afraid.
I never watched that show.
They so cannot be afraid when they're out there naked, because they're not alone.
TV crew. And
with their TV crew.
Medevac next to them.
My favorite movie is I love Sleepless in Seattle and P.S. You've Got Mail. And my favorite TV show is, I watch Dr. Phil every day. This Is Us. I like that. This is from Lisa's Cottage, and she asked the question, did you have your house built?
Well, that is, it's kind of a mixture there because my brother-in-law at the time is a builder, but I drew the plans and I was the project manager, done all the trimming and all that myself, done a lot of the trim out on the house, and even
saved us a lot of money.
Yeah, even helped with the framing and all that and draw the plans. But
we
had
went
a framer.
Swanee, Georgia, just one time on a tour. I mean, just a trip looking at houses, and we found this house. And we loved it. So it was in what they call a planned community. And we went to the company to buy the plans, and they wouldn't let us because it was in a planned community. So we went back about 3 or 4 weeks later, went back in the empty house and took pictures of every wall, every angle, everything. And John drew the plans. And then we made our changes from that. But we love this house. We had bungalow house really before bungalow was popular in Birmingham. And now there's a huge subdivision of bungalows. So we've been here 16 years, Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
Yes. And John did a huge part of it. Saved us a lot of money too. So, okay, Jody Saladino. I tell her all the time how I love her last name. Would you two take a road trip to Michigan and go explore the Upper Peninsula with me and my John? I say,
I would love, that sounds like a great invitation.
It does. And John's going to retire in about 2 years. So Jody Saladino, that's a date. That is a date. Put it on your calendar, girlfriend. I think that's great.
And see, that's part of us when you're talking about, for advice for married couples, whatever. We love doing those kind of things together. Road trips are awesome. We do them. We try to go 2 or 3 times a year and do something.
And we love to go on roads that we've never been. And GPS makes that so possible now. But we love back roads and looking at houses. My mother asked me one time, do y'all not ever get tired of going and looking at houses? No, we don't. Everything Martha is a good friend of mine, and she says, what is the little thing that annoys you the most about each other, and what is the thing you love the most? Well, we've already talked about the thing we love the most. What is the little thing that annoys you the most about me?
It used to be her typing on the computer until she moved to her room.
You can't stand the click, click, click on her.
So
I'll tell you what.
Her and her electronic devices.
Because he's an IT director, he doesn't want it around all the time, and I like it. The only thing that really annoys me about John is when he gets really, really tired, he gets grouchy.
Oh, I do.
He does. And they said he's done it ever since he was a child, even. And Rhett, our middle grandson, he's just like him. But he just has a limit that he can go to. And he works a very stressful, very demanding job. And so, but he'll come home that way sometimes. And I've learned not to take it personally. I've learned, because it used to hurt my feelings, but I've learned that now it's just that he's maxed out. And he just needs some time to revamp. And that's what it is.
Wind down.
Wind down. She said, when you're mad, who is the first one that comes to make up?
I always do.
He cannot stand. But we don't argue much. Very rarely do we argue.
I just find myself 4 or 5 times a week having to grovel back.
You do not. He will just be quiet to keep from arguing because he hates to argue. So Donna Doverspike, a good friend of mine that's been following me just about the whole time, says, do you and John have prayer and Bible study together? We don't have Bible study together because our schedules are totally different. But in reading this question, I think when we did the 21-day fast that we need to take about 30 minutes every night and read a scripture together and just discuss it. I think that would, when I read this, I think that will really enhance. And I have my own prayer time. He does his own prayer time. But before we go, but when there is an automatic or immediate need, we stop what we're doing right then and pray together. People will contact me and, say pray. And we just mute the TV and we pray. Sometimes we lay in bed before we go to sleep and we'll pray. We never take a trip anywhere that we don't cover ourselves with prayer and cover our homes and our families while we're gone. So because we're on such different schedules right now, and John doesn't like to read. It's very hard, but he reads the Bible when he gets to work. Oh, this is going to run too long, I know. But who likes shopping the most, and who is the bargain hunter?
Me.
He loves to shop. He has a great eye for shopping, and he is the bargain hunter. Are you going the day after Christmas this year?
Well,
We got so much stuff.
the money this year.
Yeah, he just loves to go the day after Christmas and find great bargains. 75% off. So, Gina Pearson, my great friend from California, she's 4'8". Chi-Chi's 4'11". Think about that.
Okay.
She is a tiny package with a voice of an angel. What is your favorite Christmas song? I have two. We discussed this last night.
Boy, that's so hard. I know which one.
You can say the same one if it's...
Well, now, probably it is "Oh Holy Night." Is probably one of the best. I would say.
That's one of my favorites.
And I love "Silent Night."
Yeah. Silent Night's...
Oh, and the little drummer boy. As you can tell, it's hard for one.
Well, and my other favorite one is Mary Did You Know?
Love Mary Did You Know?
Oh my gosh. That song just... It's too, but I love Silent Night. It's beautiful too.
It is.
But Oh Holy Night is probably our favorite too.
Little drummer boy.
And Little Drummer Boy. We're just about finished because I know this is running long.
Have mercy.
Have mercy. Janet Stauffer, she has just moved from California to Kentucky to be with her children. Isn't that awesome? She said, John, do you have siblings? Because she said, we know, I talk about me, but do you have siblings, and where did you grow up?
I grew up in a little place called Rocky Holler, Alabama. It's in central Alabama. And I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. There's 4 of us. But I have 2 first cousins. When we were growing up, Daddy helped raise his sister's 2 boys. And I can just remember Daddy saying this several times over, telling people, I got 5 boys and a girl. So he claimed his sister's 2 boys.
Yeah, they grew up always close to each other, and his aunt and them, they lived together, hung out together, lived close by, was always together, cooked together, everything, didn't they?
They was really 8 of us that growed up like brothers and sisters.
So John has an older brother, and then it's John, and then he has a sister, and then a baby brother. And then I have my oldest sibling is my sissy that passed away 7 years ago. And then I have an older brother, David, and then the brother that's just 3 years older than me is Dana. So, and like I said, we're 6 years, John and I are 6 years apart, but we still grew up in the same proximity as far as shopping and all that stuff. I never heard of him, never even heard of him. God truly brought us together. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind, because John's life, he did live a life of a bachelor for a long time, and his life has been so enhanced because he married 2 women. He married me and Ashley.
Well, and I worked second shift for, when I graduated high school, I worked second shift, and I worked on Friday night. So she worked the ball games, but I rarely got to go to a ball game at Dora.
I went to work at his high school maybe 2 years after he graduated, and then I worked there for 8 years. So I would work the ticket booth at the football games, but he worked evening shifts, third shift, whatever you call it.
I rarely got to go to a Friday night game.
And of course he didn't go to our church or anything, so our past just didn't. I met him when I went to Bevel, and it was just a God thing. I mean, I never knew I was going to go through a divorce. Really, the thought of dating again was just like really scary. And he's really the only one I really dated. I mean, I met a few guys, went to dinner and stuff like that, but not much. So, yeah, it was just a God thing. And I love my last name. I tell people that God brought me out of the darkness into the light when we married.
Well, and we've got a new theme at church.
Be light.
Be light.
That's us.
We are
the lights. So, I know this wasn't a lot of questions, but we're so long-winded that this video is too long anyway.
Yeah.
So
you don't have to cut it down.
I know, I will a little bit. content, but it gives you a chance to get to know us, and it's giving you a chance to reflect and think back.
Yes. How we met.
Not how we met.
When
God opened
when the fireworks started.
When God opened the heavens and shone the light.
The fireworks started.
It was the fireworks. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this Q&A. We've had a ball doing it. So
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Love y'all. Merry Christmas. Wait, let's say it together. 1, 2, 3.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.